You are living a fraction of the life you were meant to live. You feel it in the quiet moments. You feel it when you are watching others achieve what you only dream about. You feel it in the gap between the person you present to the world and the powerhouse you know is locked inside you. This is the central ache of a modern life, the knowledge that you are operating at a massive, staggering deficit of your own potential. We live in an age of distraction, comfort, and noise. And in this noise, we have been lulled into a passive existence. We have become spectators in our own lives, drifting, reacting, and consuming. We wait for motivation. We wait for permission. We wait for the right time. But the time never comes. And the person you are capable of becoming, the disciplined, focused, and powerful version of you, waits. That version is not a fantasy. It is your blueprint. And the life you are living now is the pale, faded copy. This audiobook is not a collection of gentle suggestions. It is not about life hacks or quick fixes. Those are the narcotics of mediocrity, designed to make you feel productive while you remain perfectly still. This is an interrogation. This is a blueprint. This is an awakening. This is the sovereign self. The purpose of this journey we are about to take is to close the gap, permanently, between who you are and who you are capable of being. We will dismantle the architecture of your limitations, brick by brick. We will excavate the beliefs that have held you hostage and replace them with the non-negotiable principles of command. You will learn to stop being a slave to your feelings and to make your feelings irrelevant in the face of your purpose. You will learn to forge discipline, not as a cage, but as the master key that unlocks every other door. You will learn to wield your focus as a weapon, to build momentum from nothing, and to become resilient to the core, to not just withstand the storms of life, but to harness their power. This will not be easy. This process is a forge. It requires effort. It demands honesty. It will ask you to confront the parts of yourself you have kept hidden in shadow. Many will listen to this. Few will do the work. The question is, which one are you? If you are here, it is because the ache of your potential has become too loud to ignore. You are ready to stop being a passenger and to take the wheel. If you are ready to begin this work and you find value in the transformation we are outlining here on the Premier Audiobooks, we ask that you like this video and subscribe to the channel. It is a simple gesture, but it is an act of commitment. It is the first step in signaling to yourself that you are ready. This is not about becoming someone else. This is about finally becoming the person you were always meant to be. The architect of your days, the master of your mind, the sovereign self. The work begins now. What does the life you were supposed to live look like? Take a moment. Do not think about the cars, the houses, or the titles. Those are just the scenery. Think about the feeling. What does it feel like to be the person you were capable of becoming? It feels like alignment. It feels like purpose. It feels like leaning into existence and not backing down. It is the feeling of lying down at the end of the day, not filled with anxiety about tomorrow, but empty from having poured every ounce of your energy into a day that mattered. It is the feeling of integrity, where your actions and your values are, for perhaps the first time, one and the same. That is the life. That is the person. And that person is standing on the other side of a door that you see every single day, a door you have, for reasons we will explore, refused to open. And this is the feeling of the life you are living now, dissonance. It is the great silent ache of the modern age, the cognitive dissonance of a life unlived. It is the Sunday evening dread. It is the hollow click of the endless scroll, searching for a spark of inspiration, a hit of dopamine, a distraction, anything to numb the quiet, screaming knowledge that you are not where you are supposed to be. It is the feeling of being a spectator in your own biography. You watch movies, you read books, you admire the achievements of others, all while a monumental power lies dormant within you. You are a repository of talent you do not use, courage you do not test, and a will you have not yet claimed. This is not a criticism, it is a diagnosis. The pain you are feeling is not, as you might believe, a sign that you are broken. It is a sign that you are incomplete. It is the pain of atrophy. It is the profound, biological, and spiritual anguish of your unused potential. It is the muscle of your soul aching from disuse. Welcome to Chapter 1, The Unopened Door. The purpose of this chapter is to hold up a mirror, not a funhouse mirror that distorts and deceives, and not a cruel mirror that only highlights your flaws. A clean mirror, a true one. Our only goal here is to diagnose the precise nature of your confinement, so that we may, in the chapters to come, begin the work of your liberation. The first and most dangerous lie we must confront is the one that tells you your cage is comfortable. We have been sold a toxic and debilitating narrative, that the goal of life is to arrive at a place of ease, to find comfort, to achieve safety, to minimize risk, and to maximize placid, predictable, and painless existence. This is the great deception. Comfort is not your sanctuary, it is your prison. Mediocrity is a slow-acting poison, and its primary ingredient is comfort. It dulls the blade of your ambition. It shortens the range of your vision. It convinces you that the ache of your potential is the enemy rather than the signal. It teaches you to muffle that ache with noise, with consumption, with food, with trivial arguments, with anything that will keep you from having to face the terrifying, beautiful responsibility of your own power. The cage of comfort is built from small, daily choices. It is the choice to hit the snooze button, which is the first broken promise of your day. It is the choice to avoid the difficult conversation, which guarantees the resentment will fester. It is the choice to consume what you crave instead of fueling your body with what it needs. It is the choice to take the path of least resistance again and again until you have forgotten how to climb. Each of these choices is a single bar. At first, they are flimsy. You could break out at any time, but you don't. You make the same comfortable choices tomorrow and the next day. You trade the momentary sharp pain of discipline for the chronic dull pain of regret. And soon the bars are thick. They are reinforced by years of habit. And you stand inside this structure telling yourself you are safe. But the truth is, your comfort zone is not a static place. It is not a home. It is a territory that shrinks every single day you choose not to expand it. Think about it. The things you were willing to do 5 years ago, the risks you would take, the person you would talk to, the challenges you would accept, are you still willing to do them today? Or has the wall of what-ifs and I can'ts moved in closer? When you live for comfort, your world does not stay the same size. It shrinks. You become afraid of new ideas, new people, new feedback. You curate your life to avoid all friction, and in doing so, you smooth your path into a downward slope. The comfort you are protecting is, in fact, the greatest source of your anxiety. You are anxious because subconsciously you know you are not built for this. You know you are a lion living in a petting zoo. You are terrified that someone will expose you, or that the world will one day demand more of you than you are used to giving. And it will. The storm will come. The crisis will hit. A job loss, a health scare, a personal failure. And you will be left with nothing but the soft, useless habits of a life lived in avoidance. This is the poison of comfort. It does not kill you today. It kills the you of tomorrow. It murders your potential, one sacrificed ambition at a time. It leaves you, decades from now, as a hollow shell of the person you could have been, filled with nothing but the bitter dust of what if. So, we must agree on this first, non-negotiable truth. The comfort that has been your refuge is, in fact, your primary enemy. The pain of remaining the same must become, in your mind, a catastrophe. It must become more terrifying than the perceived danger of change. This is the first step, to see the cage not as a home, but as a cage. The second part of our diagnosis is to look at the locks on the door. These are not external. No one is holding you captive. The door is not barred from the outside. It is locked from the inside. You are holding the key. In fact, you are the key. The locks are your rationalizations. They are the intricate, sophisticated, and deeply human stories you tell yourself to justify your inaction. These are the great lies of potential. Let us bring them into the light. The first great lie is, I will start tomorrow. Tomorrow is the most seductive word in the human language. It is a mythical land where all your discipline, all your courage, and all your focus are stored, waiting for you. We tell ourselves that the person we are today, the tired, distracted, unmotivated one, is temporary. The real us, the heroic version, will show up at midnight. This is the anesthesia of the will. It is a lie that allows you to tolerate your own failure today by deferring your victory to an imaginary future. Here is the truth. Tomorrow does not exist. It is not a real place. There is only now. There is only the decision you are making in this precise, singular moment. The person who wakes up tomorrow is the same person who went to bed tonight. They will have the same fears, the same habits, and the same excuses. Only now, they will also carry the added burden of one more day of failure. You do not have a time problem. You have a decision problem. Your reluctance to start is not about a lack of preparation. It is about a lack of commitment. You are waiting for a feeling, the feeling of motivation. But as we will explore, motivation is the most unreliable and cowardly of allies. It is a fair weather friend. The sovereign self does not wait for the feeling. The sovereign self generates the feeling through action. The second great lie is, I am not ready. This is the lie of perfectionism. It is the belief that you must have all the answers before you can take the first step. You need one more book, one more seminar, one more certification, one more sign from the universe. This is not prudence. This is fear wearing a business suit. Perfectionism is the most arrogant form of self-sabotage. It is the voice that whispers, if I cannot be the best instantly, I will not be anything at all. You are not afraid of failure. You are afraid of being a beginner. You are afraid of looking foolish. You are afraid of the messy, awkward, and humbling process of learning. You would rather stay on the sidelines as a potential genius than get in the arena and be an actual, struggling amateur. Let us be clear. You are not unready. You are unwilling. You are unwilling to embrace the suck. You are unwilling to take the imperfect shot. You are unwilling to write the terrible first draft, have the awkward first conversation, or fail the first set of reps. There is no ready. There is only now and not now. You have all the information you need to take the first step. The map for the entire journey is not revealed to you at the beginning. The map reveals itself after you start moving. The fog of uncertainty only lifts when you have the courage to walk into it. The third great lie, and perhaps the most insidious, is, it is not my fault. This is the lie of the victim. It is the abdication of all power. This lie sounds reasonable. The economy is bad. My boss is terrible. My upbringing was difficult. I'm just not one of the lucky people. Let us make a critical distinction, perhaps the most important one in this entire audiobook. The distinction between fault and responsibility. It may not be your fault that you were dealt a difficult hand. It may not be your fault that the world is unfair. It may not be your fault that someone hurt you or that you were put at a disadvantage. We all carry burdens that we did not choose. That is a fact of the human condition. But it is and will always be 100% of your responsibility how you choose to respond. Fault looks at the past. Responsibility looks to the future. Fault is a prison. Responsibility is a passport. The moment you blame an external factor for your internal state, you have given that factor permanent power over your life. You have declared yourself a puppet, and you are handing the strings to the world, begging it to be kind. The sovereign self does not do this. The sovereign self understands that blame is a fool's game. It is a waste of a non-renewable resource, your energy. The truly powerful person, the sovereign individual, takes absolute, brutal ownership of their life. They see the obstacle, they acknowledge the disadvantage, they feel the pain of the setback, and they ask the only question that matters: what now? What is my move? What can I control? What is the one action I can take right now to move the needle? This is the reclaiming of your agency. It is the most terrifying and liberating thought you will ever have. Your life as it stands right now is a direct result of the choices you have made and the standards you have tolerated. This is a terrible burden, and it is a glorious opportunity. Because if you are the architect of your discontent, you can also be the architect of your liberation. These 3 lies, "I'll start tomorrow," "I'm not ready," and "it's not my fault," are the primary locks on the unopened door. They are the stories that protect your ego from the terror of accountability. But beneath all of them, there is one single master emotion. It is fear. You are afraid. You are afraid to fail. You are afraid of what they will say. You are afraid of the work, the pain, and the sacrifice. You are afraid of succeeding and finding out you are still unhappy. And most of all, you are afraid of your own light. You are terrified of finding out just how powerful you could be. Because once you know, you will never again be able to tolerate the comfortable, mediocre life you are living. Once you see it, you are responsible for it. This is the diagnosis. The unopened door is in front of you. It is the gateway to the life you were meant to live and to the person you were meant to be. The dissonance you feel is the sound of that person, your potential self, banging on the other side of that door. They are begging you to let them out. They are suffocating in the dark, dying in the prison of your comfort, your rationalizations, and your fear. This chapter was not intended to be comfortable. It was intended to be an awakening. The goal was to make the pain of remaining the same so real, so visceral, so unacceptable that you are finally willing to turn and face the door. Your diagnosis is complete. You are not sick. You are not broken. You are stuck. You are trapped by your own consent. The cure is in your hands. The door has been in front of you all your life. It is not locked. It has only ever been held shut by you. The question is no longer what is on the other side. The question is, and has always been, will you find the courage to turn the handle? In the last chapter, we stood before the unopened door. We diagnosed the dissonance you feel, the ache of your own potential. We dismantled the locks, the rationalizations, the excuses, and the great paralyzing emotion of fear. And now you stand before the door, hand on the handle. You are ready to turn it, but you don't. Why? Why does the hand not turn? What invisible force holds you in place, whispering that it is safer in the room you know, even if that room is a prison? The answer is the architect of that room. The answer is the reason the door was built and locked in the first place. The answer is your blueprint of belief. Welcome to Chapter 2. Before you can build a new life, you must excavate the old one. You cannot build a skyscraper on the foundation of a shack. You must go down to the bedrock. And that is what we will do now. This chapter is an archaeological dig into your own mind. We are going to unearth the deeply buried, invisible instructions that have been running your life. What is a blueprint of belief? It is your subconscious operating system. It is the vast, complex, and totally invisible set of rules, assumptions, and core truths that you acquired before you ever had a choice. This blueprint dictates what you believe is possible, what you believe you deserve, and who you believe you are. It is the ghost in your machine. It runs in the background of every thought you have, every decision you make, and every action you take or fail to take. It is the gatekeeper of your perception. It does not just describe your reality. In almost every sense, it creates it. You believe that you see the world as it is. This is the greatest illusion. You do not. You see the world as your blueprint tells you to. Your mind is a filter, and it only allows in the evidence that matches the instructions it has been given. If your blueprint says, "I am not good enough," your mind will spend its entire life gathering proof. It will magnify every failure, highlight every criticism, and actively ignore every success and every compliment. You will walk through a field of opportunities and see only the snakes. This is why positive thinking so often fails. It is like painting a smile on a broken engine. You cannot solve a foundational problem with a coat of paint. You must fix the engine. Our work here is to become the chief engineer. And the first step is to pull out the original plans and read them for the very first time with a critical, objective eye. The most important thing to remember during this process is this. This is not about blame. This is about analysis. We are not looking for villains in your past. We are not here to open old wounds for the sake of resentment. We are here as objective, high-level strategists, gathering intelligence on the forces that shaped us. To understand a mechanism is to gain power over it. And anything learned can be unlearned. The first lines drawn on your blueprint were not drawn by you. They are the inherited scripts. These are the beliefs you absorbed from the moment you were born. They came from your family, your guardians, the primary authorities in your early life. You absorbed them long before your critical thinking was developed. You took them in like air. You mistook them for objective reality. Think about the beliefs you hold about the most fundamental parts of life. Think about money. What was the feeling around money in your home? Was it a source of stress and argument? Was it spoken of as something scarce, dirty, or the root of all evil? Was it something that people like us never really have? Or was it spoken of as a tool, a resource, a game to be played? That emotional data formed your financial thermostat. Your entire life, you have been subconsciously working to match that temperature. If you earn more than it, you may find a way to sabotage yourself, to spend it, to lose it, to get back to the comfortable setting you inherited. If you earn less, you feel the stress of failure. But you are not playing your game, you are playing theirs. Think about work and career. Were you taught that work is a calling, a place to express your gifts? Or were you taught that work is a burden, a grind, a necessary evil, something you do for 50 years so you can maybe enjoy the last 10? Was the primary value security and stability? Or was it impact and fulfillment? The advice you received: get a good, safe job. Don't get too big for your britches. Be realistic. These were not just words. These were programming commands. They were the first, thick lines on your blueprint, defining the boundaries of your ambition. Think about love, relationships, and self-worth. Did you watch your guardians treat each other with respect or with contempt? Did you learn that conflict is something to be resolved or something to be feared and avoided? Did you learn that love is conditional, something you must earn through perfect behavior and achievement? These scripts are the most powerful in our blueprint because they are the oldest. They are the voice in the back of your head that sounds suspiciously like a parent, telling you what you should and must do. And until you excavate them, they are your voice. You think they are your thoughts, your values, but they are merely echoes. They are the programming of a previous generation running on your hardware. And here is the hard truth. You cannot build a life of freedom and command while running on a program of fear and limitation. You cannot become a sovereign self while being a slave to the inherited ghosts of your past. To see them, to name them. This belief about money is my father's fear. This belief about my worth is my mother's anxiety, is the first act of liberation. It is the moment you step outside the program and begin to see the code. Once the foundation of the blueprint is set in childhood, we are sent out into the world. And the world is eager to add its own lines. These are the societal narratives. These are the zoning laws of your blueprint. Society, culture, media, and now the algorithm all have a vested interest in telling you what a successful life looks in. This narrative is loud, pervasive, and extraordinarily seductive. It provides you with a pre-packaged, normal path. Go to school, get the grades, get into the right college, get the safe job with the good benefits, get the loan, buy the house, get the next loan, buy the car, post the picture, show everyone how successful you are. Work for 40 years, climb the ladder, and then, at the end, retire. And then you can finally do what you want. This is the consensus trance, the path of least resistance. And for most people, it is a life sentence. It is a path that optimizes for external validation over internal alignment. It teaches you to measure your life by a scorecard that someone else wrote. Your job title, the square footage of your home, the number of likes on your photo. The societal narrative is a machine designed to make you a predictable consumer and a compliant worker. It does not want you to be a sovereign self. A sovereign self is dangerous. A sovereign self is ungovernable. A sovereign self asks, why? Why is this the goal? Why should I trade my one precious, non-renewable resource, time, for things I do not truly value? Why am I running a race I never agreed to enter? The societal narrative works through a powerful weapon, social proof. Everyone else is doing it. You see your friends, your colleagues, your peers on social media all appearing to follow this path and thrive. You see the curated highlight reel of their lives. And this creates an immense gravitational pull. It makes your own, unique, authentic path feel wrong, risky, or weird. So you silence the voice inside you. You know, the one that whispers, I am not made for this. The one that aches for impact, for meaning, for purpose. You trade your shot at a magnificent, authentic life for the lukewarm, tepid approval of the crowd. This is the bargain of mediocrity. To excavate this part of your blueprint, you must be willing to audit your own life. Look at your goals. Truly, look at them. Your 5-year plan, your vision board. Now ask the most terrifying question. Whose goals are these? Did I choose this, or was it sold to me? Am I building a life, or am I building a resume? Am I pursuing a dream, or am I fleeing the fear of being different? This interrogation is the second great act of liberation. It is the moment you reclaim the pencil from society and give yourself permission to erase the lines that do not serve your core purpose. The inherited scripts are the foundation. The societal narratives are the external walls. But the most powerful and painful lines on the blueprint are the ones you drew yourself. These are the self-imposed limitations. These are the beliefs you adopted about yourself based on your own past. They are the personal dogmas you created from pain. They are the scars from old wounds that you have mistaken for your permanent identity. At some point in your life, you failed. You took a risk and you got hurt. Perhaps you started a business and it went bankrupt. You poured your heart into it and it failed. And from that failure, you didn't just extract a lesson, you extracted a belief. You drew a new line on your blueprint. The lesson might have been, I need to understand my cash flow better. But the belief you drew was, I am not a good leader. I am not cut out for this. I am a failure. Perhaps you had your heart broken. You were vulnerable, you trusted someone, and they left. The lesson might have been, I need to learn to see red flags sooner and communicate my boundaries. But the belief you drew was, I am unlovable. If I open up, I will be abandoned. It is safer to be alone. These self-imposed limitations are the most vicious of all because they feel true. They are not inherited. They are not from society. They are your data. You lived them, and so you have turned a single event into a permanent trait. You have turned a memory into a mandate. Your mind, in an effort to protect you from ever feeling that specific pain again, has built an entire fortress around that wound. And that fortress, which you believe is keeping you safe, is actually the very thing keeping you small. It is the voice that screams "stop" every time you get close to a new opportunity. It is the sudden, overwhelming wave of anxiety when you are about to take a new risk. It is the subconscious urge to sabotage the new relationship, the new job, the new project, to prove your negative belief is true and return to the safety of your own limiting story. This is the upper limit problem. Your blueprint has a ceiling on it, one that you drew. A ceiling for happiness, for success, for love. And the moment your real life begins to punch through that ceiling, your internal alarm system goes off, and you are pulled back down into the reality you have defined for yourself. Excavating these beliefs requires a new level of courage. It requires you to be a thought detective. For the next week, I want you to carry a notebook or use a file on your phone. And every time you feel a strong negative emotion, fear, doubt, anxiety, anger, procrastination, I want you to stop, and I want you to trace that feeling back to its source. Ask yourself, what is the thought that is causing this feeling? And then, what is the belief that is causing this thought? Write it down. I believe that if I fail, I will be worthless. I believe that if I am truly seen, I will be rejected. I believe that I am not smart, talented, disciplined enough to succeed. Now you must do what you have never done. You must put that belief on trial. You must become the prosecutor and interrogate this belief that has been your secret, silent judge for years. Ask it. Is this belief 100% absolutely, objectively true? Has it always, in every single instance, been true? Or have there been exceptions? Have there been times when I was smart enough, when I was successful, when I was loved? Is this belief serving me? Is it protecting me? Or is it imprisoning me? And the final, liberating question: who would I be, and what would I do if I did not believe this? This is the third and most profound act of liberation. This is the process of deconstruction. You are looking at the blueprint of your life, the inherited scripts from your family, the societal narratives from your culture, and the self-imposed limitations from your past. And you are finally seeing it for what it is. It is not you. It is not truth. It is data. It is old code. It is a set of instructions that may have served a purpose once, to help you survive your childhood, to help you fit in, to protect you from pain. But you are not here to survive. You are here to thrive. You are not here to fit in. You are here to stand out. You are not here to avoid pain. You are here to transmute it into power. The life you are living is a building constructed from a deeply flawed blueprint. The dissonance you feel is the sound of your true self, your sovereign self, rattling the walls, demanding a new design. You are not your beliefs. You are the architect. You are the one who holds the pencil. And you can, at any moment, choose to pick it up, erase the old lines, and begin to draw a new, bold, and magnificent design. You have audited the past. You have seen the code. You have done the work. You have stood before the unopened door and faced the terror of your own potential. You have excavated the flawed blueprint, sifting through the dust of inherited scripts and the rubble of self-imposed limitations. You have completed the deconstruction. Now the great construction begins. You stand in the void. The old structure is gone, but the new one has not yet been designed. This is a moment of profound possibility and profound danger. Without a plan, without a direction, you will simply rebuild the same prison you just escaped. Nature abhors a vacuum, and if you do not fill this new open space with intention, the old habits and the world's noise will rush in to fill it for you. A life without a why is a ship without a rudder, adrift on the ocean of circumstance. You will be pushed by the winds of public opinion. You will be pulled by the tides of your own weakest impulses. You will be dashed against the rocks of other people's agendas. You will spend your life reacting to emails, to notifications, to demands, to your own unexamined feelings. You will mistake this frantic reactive motion for progress. This is the life of the drifter, and it is a tragedy. We are here to end that. Today, we stop drifting. Today, we begin to steer. And to steer, you need a compass. Welcome to Chapter 3, Forging the Compass. This is the pivotal transition. This is the moment we move from awareness to agency. This chapter is not a passive reflection. It is an active process of creation. We are going to forge, in the fire of intention, the two components of an unbreakable guidance system: your values and your vision. This compass will become your most crucial possession. It is the tool that will tell you where to go when you are lost in the fog of indecision. It is the filter that will allow you to say no with unshakable confidence. And it is the fuel source that will burn long after the cheap, dirty-burning fuel of motivation has run dry. Let us begin by addressing the great, glittering distractions. The world has already given you a long list of goals that it insists you should want: money, status, a corner office, a new car, a bigger house, a specific number on the scale. What are these? They are destinations. They are whats. They are the hollow trophies of a life lived by the societal blueprint. And here is the secret that the sovereign self knows. If you chase a what without a why, you will arrive at your goal completely empty. You will get the money and wonder why you are still anxious. You will get the title and wonder why you still feel invisible. You will get the body you wanted and still find no peace in your own skin. This is the arrival fallacy, the catastrophic belief that an external achievement will solve an internal problem. It will not, because those goals are not a compass. They are scenery. They are byproducts. They are, at their very best, results. They are not and can never be a purpose. A purpose is not a place you arrive. It is a direction you travel. It is the way you move through the world. Our work is to define that way. We begin the forging process with the core material, the steel. We begin with your values. The word values has become soft. It has become a corporate buzzword, a vague and pleasant-sounding platitude. We must reclaim its power. Your values are not nice ideas. They are not things you admire. Your values are your non-negotiable constitution. They are the rules of your personal sovereignty. They are the code by which you live, and the lines you will not cross. They are the answer to the question, how will I be? Most people have never consciously defined their values. They have instead absorbed a loose collection of preferences. This is why their decisions are erratic. This is why they are one person at work and another at home. They lack a core. They are inconsistent. The sovereign self is, above all, consistent. Their internal code is absolute. We will now define that code. This is not a gentle brainstorm. This is an act of elimination. You must be a sculptor, chipping away the marble of everything you are not to reveal the form of who you are. Take a piece of paper. You will need it. First, we will find the raw material. The easiest way to find what you stand for is to identify what you despise. Your anger, when channeled, is a tool of profound clarity. What makes your blood boil? When you see it in the world or in yourself, what creates a visceral negative reaction? Is it dishonesty? When people lie, when they are inauthentic, when they manipulate the truth? Does this infuriate you? If so, then integrity or truth is your steel. Is it cruelty? When you see the strong mistreat the weak or a lack of empathy, does this move you to action? Then compassion or justice is your steel. Is it laziness? When you see potential wasted, when you see people giving less than their best, especially yourself, does this create a deep sense of wrongness? Then excellence or discipline is your steel. Is it chaos? A disorganized environment, a reactive life, a lack of planning? Does this make you deeply uncomfortable? Then order or clarity is your steel. Is it conformity? The mob mentality, the suppression of new ideas, the fear of standing out? Does this feel like a cage? Then freedom or courage is your steel. Use your negative emotions as a tracking device, leading you back to their positive, powerful opposite. List them all. Do not filter. Now, a second test. What are you willing to suffer for? This is the true test of a value. It's not a value if you only adhere to it when it's easy. It's a preference. Are you willing to be disliked in order to maintain your integrity? Are you willing to be poorer in order to maintain your freedom? Are you willing to be uncomfortable in order to pursue excellence? Are you willing to look foolish in the short term, to fail publicly, to be misunderstood in service of a higher value? Look at your list. Cross off anything that is not a non-negotiable. Cross off the nice-to-haves. Be brutal. Now you must do the hardest part. You must choose. A constitution with 50 articles is a recipe for chaos. A code of honor must be concise. It must be memorable. It must be a weapon you can draw in a microsecond. I want you to circle no more than 5. 3 is better. These 5 or 3 words are your new law. This is the new code we spoke of in the last chapter. This is the operating system of the sovereign self. Write them down. Look at them. Excellence, integrity, courage, order, impact, resilience, truth, freedom, mastery. Whatever they are yours. They are not inherited. They are not societal. They are chosen. They are forged. From this moment forward, these values are your primary decision-making filter. When faced with a choice, large or small, you will no longer ask, "What do I feel like doing?" You will no longer ask, "What is the easiest thing to do?" You will no longer ask, "What will they think?" You will ask one simple, powerful question. Which choice aligns with my values? Which option is the one that honors integrity? Which path is the one that demands courage? This is the first half of your compass. It is the how you will travel. It is the part that orients your character. But a compass needs a direction. It needs a North Star. It needs a why. Now we forge the second part, your vision. If your values are your internal constitution, your vision is your external mission. It is the meaningful, audacious, and inspiring direction you have chosen to point your life toward. A vision is not a goal, as we discussed. A goal is a finite target. You can achieve a goal, and then it is over. A vision is infinite. It is a game you can play for the rest of your life. It is not a place you arrive. It is a direction you embody. To be healthy is a vague wish. To lose 10 pounds is a finite goal. To be a person who embodies physical excellence and vitality in order to show up with energy for my family and my work is a vision. You can live that vision every single day. To be rich is a superficial goal. To build a business is a finite goal. To be a creator of value, a solver of problems, and an engine of resource generation for my community and my ideas is a vision. We must articulate this vision. We must make it so clear, so compelling, and so personal that it pulls you forward. To do this, we will use a classic exercise, but we will strip it of its sentimentality and sharpen it into a tool of intent. I want you to think about the end, not morbidly, but strategically. Imagine yourself at the end of a long, fully lived life. You are not thinking about what people will say about you in a eulogy. That is still outsourcing your validation. Instead, you are reflecting, and you are asking yourself one question: was it worth it? For the answer to be a resounding, bone-deep yes, what would have had to have been true? Let us reverse engineer this. Start with your impact. What problems do you want to have solved? You are uniquely designed to solve certain problems. Are they problems of inefficiency? Problems of communication? Problems of injustice? Problems of creativity? Your vision is not about you. It is about the dent you want to leave in the universe. How will the world be tangibly better because you applied your unique gifts to it? Move to your character. What kind of person do you want to have been? When you faced the inevitable crises of life, how did you respond? What virtues did you embody? This should be a direct reflection of the values you just defined. I was a person of unshakable integrity. I was a person who chose courage when it was hardest. Move to your experience. What did you want to feel? What did you want to learn? What does a life of mastery look like to you? Do you want to have mastered an instrument, a language, a skill? Do you want to have felt the freedom of a body that is strong and capable? To have felt the peace of a mind that is disciplined and clear? Finally, move to your relationships. How did you show up for the people you claim to love? What was the quality of your presence? Were you a source of strength, of inspiration, of unwavering support? Take these 4 elements: impact, character, experience, and relationships, and begin to write. Do not write what you should want. Write what you want. Do not write what is realistic. That is the language of the old blueprint. Write what is compelling. This is your North Star. It does not matter if it seems too big. A vision is not something you achieve tomorrow. It is something you aim at. Its purpose is to set your trajectory. A tiny 1-degree shift in your trajectory today will land you on a different continent in 10 years. This vision is that 1-degree shift. Combine this vision with the values you defined. The result is your compass. Your values are the how. Your vision is the why. This is the most important work you will ever do. You now have a tool that makes you immune to the distractions of the world. You have an internal guidance system that is more reliable than any external authority, any fleeting emotion, or any societal trend. When you are tired, your compass is steady. When you are confused, your compass is clear. When you are tempted to take the easy path, the path of comfort, the path back to the prison you just left, your compass will point you toward the path of purpose. This is your new architecture. This is the new blueprint. It is no longer a set of limitations imposed upon you. It is a set of principles chosen by you. It is an act of deliberate, conscious, and sovereign self-creation. You have defined what you stand for. You have defined where you are going. You are no longer adrift. But a compass is only a tool. It tells you the direction. It does not, however, eliminate the storms that lie between you and the horizon. It does not clear the path. The next and most critical step is to take the first step in that direction. And the moment you do, you will meet an enemy. An enemy that is intimate, powerful, and deeply intelligent. An enemy that lives inside you. You have forged your compass. Now you must prepare for war. You have done the work of the architect. You have excavated the old blueprint and drawn the new one. You have forged the compass of your values and pointed it toward the North Star of your vision. You have stood in the quiet of your own mind and made a commitment. You have, perhaps for the first time, made a sovereign choice about the direction of your life. And this is the moment. This is the precise, singular, pivotal moment that the war begins. The commitment you just made was a declaration. It was an eviction notice served to the old ruler of your life. And this ruler, This comfortable, fearful, and deeply entrenched part of you will not go quietly. The moment you decide to become exceptional, a civil war is declared in your own mind. The entire established order, the one that has been running on the old broken code for decades, rises up in furious rebellion. This is not a feeling of resistance. This is an active, intelligent, and hostile force. And it is the most intimate enemy you will ever face. It knows all of your secrets. It has all of your memories. It knows the exact words that will stop you, the exact fears that will paralyze you, and the exact comforts that will seduce you. It has been studying you your entire life. Welcome to Chapter 4, The War Within. The purpose of this chapter is to give you the intelligence you need to win. We are moving from being a casualty of this war to being a strategist. You will learn to stop being ambushed by your own mind. You will learn to anticipate the enemy's moves, identify its weapons, and dismantle its attacks. First, you must know your enemy. We will call this force the old self. It is the part of you that is permanently welded to the comfort zone we discussed. It is the guardian of your mediocrity. It is the embodiment of your past habits, your deepest fears, and your most familiar excuses. And we must be clear about its motive. The old self is not, in its own mind, a villain. It does not want to destroy you. It wants to protect you. Its primary directive is stasis. Its goal is to return you, at all costs, to the predictable, familiar, and safe world of the unopened door. Your new vision, your commitment to discipline, to growth, to purpose, is a mortal threat to its existence. Your new compass points directly away from its territory of comfort. And so, it will fight. It will not fight you in the open. It is a saboteur, not a soldier. It is a ghost in your own machine. It will never announce its presence. It will, instead, attack you using a voice that you trust more than any other, your own. The genius of the old self is that its whispers of sabotage sound exactly like your own reasonable thoughts. They sound like caution. They sound like logic. They sound like realism. You have been listening to this voice your entire life, believing it was you, believing it was the real you, the one who was just being practical. This chapter is the end of that deception. We are here to put a name and a face on this enemy. We will drag it out of the shadows and into the light. And we will begin by analyzing its three primary weapons. The first and most common weapon is procrastination. The old self rarely begins with a frontal assault. That is too obvious. Its first move is always one of subtlety. Its first move is to delay. You wake up. The fire of your new why is burning. You know exactly what you need to do. You have a plan. You are ready to execute. And the voice whispers, yes, absolutely, but not right now. This is the art of later. You're still tired, it says. Just hit the snooze button. You deserve the rest. You'll be better for it. We'll start in 9 minutes. And you do. And the first promise of the day is broken. You're right, we must go to the gym, it agrees, but it's already 5 p.m. It will be too crowded, you'll be rushed, it's not optimal. Let's go tomorrow morning, and we'll do it right. This is the perfect day to start the new business plan, it says, but first we must do more research. We are not quite ready. We need one more book, one more course. Let's prepare today, and we'll start on Monday. Do you see the tactic? It is brilliant. The old self agrees with your new mission. It validates your vision. It does not say no. It says not yet. And in doing so, it preserves the illusion of your commitment while completely sabotaging your action. You get to keep the good feeling of being the kind of person who is going to change without ever having to endure the friction of actually changing. Procrastination is not laziness. Laziness is a moral judgment. This is a strategy. It is a weapon designed to sap your certainty. Your commitment when you first made it was a single hot point of ignition. Procrastination is the force of diffusion. It seeks to cool that intention. It wants to blunt the edge of your why. It knows that if it can just get you to delay, your emotional energy will fade, the inspiration will leak out, and by tomorrow or Monday, the urgency will be gone, replaced by the comfortable, familiar fog of your old habits. The goal of procrastination is not to stop you forever. It is simply to break your momentum before it can begin. It is to ensure you never leave the starting block. The counter strategy is simple, but not easy. You must learn to be an imperfect starter. You must act in spite of the feeling. You must recognize that "I am not ready" is a lie from the saboteur. The only way to be ready is to begin. You must, in the face of the call to wait, move immediately. But let's say you do. Let's say you fight past the urge to delay. You sit down at the desk. You put on your gym shoes. You open the blank page. You have defeated the first weapon. The old self must now escalate. It moves to its second and far more sophisticated weapon, rationalization. If procrastination is the art of later, rationalization is the art of the exception. This is the most dangerous weapon in its arsenal because it uses your own intelligence against you. It is the inner lawyer, the sophisticated debater, the voice of pure, cold, and utterly flawed logic. The goal of rationalization is to provide you with a high-level, intellectually sound, and deeply reasonable justification for surrender. It allows you to betray your own newfound values while convincing you that you are in fact honoring them. Let's see it in action. Your new value, forged in the last chapter, is excellence. You're at your desk, you've started the project, but you hit a snag. It's difficult. The old self, the internal lawyer, steps in. It doesn't say, "Let's quit." It says, "This is not your best work, and you are a person of excellence." To continue in this sloppy, unfocused way would be a betrayal of your new standard. The truly excellent thing to do is to stop, to wait until you are in the zone, and to come back when you can do it perfectly. This is the perfectionism trap. It is a rationalization so seductive that it feels like integrity. But it is a lie. It is the old self wearing the mask of your new value, using it to shepherd you right back to inaction. Here is another. Your new value is freedom. You've been working hard. You've been disciplined for a week. You're building momentum. The old self steps in. It doesn't say, "Let's be lazy." It says, "This rigid schedule, it's a prison. You've just traded one cage for another." The sovereign self, the person of true freedom, isn't a slave to a calendar. They are spontaneous. They live in the moment. The truly free thing to do is to blow this off. Go watch a movie. That's real power. And just like that, it has used the concept of freedom to destroy the discipline that creates it. It will do this with everything. It will use health to justify eating the cake. You can't be too restrictive. That's an eating disorder. The healthy thing to do is to have balance. It will use family to justify skipping your work. You're being selfish. You should be with them right now, not focused on this project. It will use rest to justify apathy. Rationalization is the lie you want to believe. It is the story that lets you off the hook. It is the get-out-of-jail-free card for your new, difficult commitments. It is the excuse that sounds like wisdom. The counter strategy? Brutal, unyielding honesty. You must put every reasonable excuse on trial. You must hold it up to the light of your compass. You must ask, is this thought, this reasonable thought, moving me closer to my North Star or away from it? Is this exception I'm about to grant myself serving my vision, or is it serving my fear? Is this the voice of my higher self, or is this the voice of the saboteur wearing a clever disguise? You must become ruthless in your self-interrogation. You must learn to detect the flavor of a rationalization, that little hollow click in your gut that tells you you're being sold a beautiful lie. But let's say you do. You see through the lies. You've beaten back procrastination. You've exposed the rationalizations. You are in the forge. You are doing the hard work. It hurts, but you are doing it. The old self is now cornered. You have taken away its two favorite weapons. It has no more tricks, no more subtlety, no more logic. So it does what all cornered, desperate animals do. It attacks. It drops all pretense of reason and unleashes its third, final, and most primitive weapon: emotional manipulation. If the old self cannot outthink you, it will overfeel you. It will flood your entire nervous system with a tidal wave of negative, visceral, and overwhelming sensation. This is its scorched earth policy. This is chemical warfare. The moment you sit down to do the difficult work, you are suddenly hit with a wave of crushing anxiety. It is baseless. There is no bear in the room. There is no actual threat. But your heart is pounding, your palms are sweating, and your mind is screaming, "Danger! Danger! Danger!" This is not you. This is the old self yanking the emergency brake. It is hitting the panic button, flooding your body with cortisol and adrenaline to force you to stop. Or perhaps its weapon of choice is boredom. Not just "I'm not interested," but a profound, restless, agonizing boredom. A crawling out of your skin feeling. The work is not scary, it is just unbearable. Your mind will scream for a hit. Any hit, a notification, a video, a snack, anything to escape the friction of the work. This is the old self manufacturing an itch so severe that you must scratch it. Or its most famous attack, sudden, overwhelming tiredness. You were fine all day. You were energetic. The second your butt hits the chair to do the work you've been avoiding, a leaden, concrete, heavy fatigue pours into your limbs. Your eyelids weigh 1,000 pounds. You can't keep your head up. This is not real fatigue. This is a manufactured symptom. It is a biological tranquilizer dart fired from the subconscious, designed to put you to sleep before you can do any damage to the old established order. Fear, doubt, anxiety, guilt, boredom, sudden fatigue. These are the missiles of the old self. It is holding your own peace of mind hostage. It is, quite literally, saying to you, the moment you try to move toward your vision, I will make you feel terrible. I will make you feel so anxious, so bored, so exhausted that the only way to get relief is to stop. Stop, and I'll make the bad feelings go away. And this is where everyone quits. They mistake this manufactured emotional state for a truth. They think, I feel so anxious, it must be a sign that this is the wrong path. They think, I feel so tired, I must not have the energy for this. They think, I feel so bored, I must not have the passion for this. They have, in the final battle, mistaken the enemy's weapon for their own identity. The counter strategy is the mark of the true sovereign self. It is the single greatest shift you will ever make. You must learn to detach. You must learn to observe your feelings without becoming them. You must build a space between you, the strategist, the sovereign self, and the emotional noise that the saboteur is creating. You must learn to say, interesting. There is the anxiety. The old self is deploying its fear tactic. You must learn to say, there is the boredom. The old self is trying to get me to reach for a distraction. You must learn to say, I see that fatigue, a clever move, but it's not real. You must become the calm observer in the middle of your own manufactured storm. This is the war. It is not fought in the gym. It is not fought at the desk. It is fought in the 6 inches between your ears. It is fought every single day against these 3 weapons: procrastination, rationalization, emotional manipulation. You are no longer a casualty. You are no longer wondering why you feel this way. You are no longer a victim of the internal ambush. You are now a strategist. You know the enemy. You know the tactics. You can anticipate the attacks. The goal is not to stop the old self from ever speaking. That voice, that resistance, may never fully go away. It is the shadow that your light casts. No, the goal is not to silence the enemy. The goal is to disobey. The goal is to see the attack, to label the weapon, to feel the full, uncomfortable, manufactured force of the emotion, and to do the work anyway. This is the victory. It is not the absence of fear. It is the action in the presence of fear. It is the movement in the presence of friction. The war is not won when the enemy is dead. The war is won in a single, glorious, sovereign moment when you choose to act. You know the enemy. You know its tactics. You have stood in the mental arena, identified the saboteur, and labeled its weapons of procrastination, rationalization, and emotional manipulation. You have seen the war within. Now you must learn how to win it. An army, no matter how righteous its cause, cannot win a war with good intentions. It wins with a superior weapon, a superior strategy, and the will to execute. Your enemy, the old self, is armed with the powerful, primitive weapons of emotion and habit. Your weapon must be stronger. It must be colder. It must be more reliable. This weapon is discipline. Welcome to Chapter 5, The Forge of Discipline. We must begin by destroying the very word and rebuilding it. For most of your life, discipline has been a word of punishment. It was the word used by parents and teachers to mean restriction, conformity, and the loss of freedom. It was what you got when you did something wrong. This is the old self's greatest propaganda victory, convincing you that the one tool capable of liberating you is, in fact, a cage. Let us be clear. The definition we will forge today is the opposite. Discipline is not a cage. It is the master key that unlocks every cage you are in. Discipline is not punishment. It is the highest and purest form of self-respect. Discipline is not the enemy of freedom. It is the sole architect of it. Your freedom to do what you feel like doing in any given moment is a child's freedom. It is the freedom to be a slave to your weakest impulses. It is the freedom to be a puppet of your own unexamined chemistry, a cork tossed on the ocean of your moods. That is not freedom. It is the most sophisticated prison ever designed. True, sovereign freedom is the opposite. It is the ability to choose your future and then to pay the price for it. It is the ability to subordinate your momentary feelings to your permanent values. It is the power to write a promise to yourself and then to keep it. Discipline is the bridge that connects the you of today, standing in the fog of your potential, to the sovereign self you envisioned, standing in the clarity of your purpose. Without this bridge, your vision is just a hallucination. And this brings us to the first critical battle we must win in this forge. We must kill, once and for all, the myth of motivation. We live in a culture that worships motivation. We wait for it, we get hyped, we watch videos, we listen to music, we drink the energy drink, all in an attempt to feel like doing the work. Motivation is a feeling. It is a chemical cocktail. It is a fleeting, fair weather friend. It is the ally that shows up loud and excited on the first day. It is the ally that is nowhere to be found on day 47 when it is cold and dark and you are tired and the results are not coming as fast as you want. Motivation is a spark. Discipline is the engine. Motivation is a bonus. Discipline is the baseline. Motivation is the amateur. Discipline is the professional. The amateur waits to feel right. The professional gets to work and, in doing so, generates the right feeling. This is the great secret that motivation addicts never learn. You have the equation backward. You believe that motivation leads to action. This is a lie. The truth of the forge is that action leads to results, and results leads to motivation. Motivation is not the cause of action. It is the reward for it. The person who waits for motivation to strike will live their entire life by the starting block. The disciplined individual, the one who understands the forge, will simply begin. They will take the first, ugly, imperfect, and friction-filled step. And in that step, they generate a small win. And that win creates a tiny chemical reward. That reward is the byproduct of the action. It is the first small spark of real earned motivation. This is why we must forge discipline. It is the only reliable fuel source in the universe. It is the engine that runs when the weather is terrible. It is the commitment to the process, not the feeling. So, how do we build it? If discipline is not something you have, but something you forge, what is the process? What is the raw material? What is the heat? And what is the hammer? The raw material is your will. It is the why you forged in Chapter 3. It is the conscious, deliberate, sovereign decision that the pain of remaining the same is now, finally, greater than the pain of changing. This cannot be a wish. It cannot be a nice to have. It cannot be I'll try. It must be a vow. It must be a non-negotiable commitment. You must, in a quiet, serious moment with yourself, make a decision. You must draw a line in the sand of your own psyche. The old self is no longer in command. I am. This decision is the steel. It is the raw, unformed material of your new identity. But on its own, it is brittle. It will snap under the first pressure. A decision without the force of action is just a noble-sounding word for a dream. To be made strong, the steel must be put into the fire. The fire is friction. The fire is the war within we detailed in the last chapter. It is the full, concentrated, uncomfortable resistance you feel when you move to execute your vow. It is the voice of the old self. It is the procrastination, the rationalization, and the emotional manipulation. It is the anxiety. It is the boredom. It is the fatigue. And here is the change in perspective that will alter your life. You have been trained to see this friction as a stop sign. You have been trained to believe that if it feels hard, it must be wrong. This is the greatest lie. From now on, you will see this friction, this heat, this resistance as the forge itself. It is not a sign that you are on the wrong path. It is the proof that you are on the right one. You are not doing it wrong because it feels difficult. It is supposed to be difficult. The difficulty is the thing that is changing you. The resistance is not the obstacle to the work. The resistance is the work. The fire is not something to be avoided. The fire is the process of your transformation. Every time you feel the pull of procrastination and you act anyway, you are strengthening the steel. Every time you hear the compelling rationalization and you disobey it, you are strengthening the steel. Every time you feel the wave of manufactured anxiety or fatigue and you sit with it, observe it, and do the work, you are strengthening the steel. You are, in a very real neurological sense, rewiring your brain. You are proving to your own subconscious that the new vow is more powerful than the old programming. You are teaching your own body that you are in command, not your fleeting chemical whims. The fire of friction burns away your weakness. It purifies your intent. It makes you strong. But you cannot just throw steel into a fire and expect a sword. It will just melt into slag. You need the final and most important element of the forge. The hammer is consistency. This is the rhythmic, deliberate, and unrelenting application of action. Discipline is not forged in one heroic 8-hour session. It is not built by going hard for 1 week and then burning out. That is just motivation in a costume. Discipline is forged in the boring. It is forged in the daily. It is forged in the unsexy, rhythmic, and non-negotiable return to the anvil day after day after day. The hammer is the small, daily act. The hammer is the consistency. You must stop trying to boil the ocean. You are not trying to change your entire life in one day. That is the old self's trick, a form of rationalization designed to make the task so perfect and so big that you never start. Your goal is to win one battle, today. We will create a new framework. We will call it the Rule of One. Your only goal is to forge one small, non-negotiable habit. Not 10, not 5, 1. We are not building a lifestyle. We are building an identity. And we do that by building trust with ourselves. Think of your self-trust as a bank account. For years, the old self has been making withdrawals. Every broken promise, every time you hit the snooze button, every time you said, "I'll do it tomorrow," and didn't, was a withdrawal. Most people are spiritually and psychologically bankrupt. They have zero trust in themselves. This is why their vows mean nothing. We are going to make our first deposit. You must choose one single action. It must be small enough that it is impossible to rationalize not doing it. But it must be significant enough that it is a clear signal of your new identity. Not, "I will go to the gym for 2 hours," but, "I will put on my gym shoes and walk for 10 minutes." Not, "I will write my entire business plan," but, "I will open the document and write for 5 minutes." Not, "I will meditate for an hour," but, "I will sit in silence with my eyes closed for 60 seconds. The size of the act is irrelevant. The consistency of the act is everything. This one non-negotiable act is your hammer. It is the first promise you will keep to yourself. You will do it every single day. You will do it when you are motivated. You will do it when you are not motivated. You will do it when you are in the zone. You will do it when you are too tired. You will do it when it makes sense. You will do it when it feels pointless. This act is no longer dependent on your mood. It is no longer dependent on the weather. It is no longer up for debate. It has become, like breathing, a non-negotiable function of your existence. This is the hammer, the rhythm, the tap, tap, tap of the daily promise kept. What is this rhythm doing? On the surface, it looks like you are just doing 10 push-ups. Who cares? The old self will tell you it's stupid. This isn't changing anything. But it is. It is changing everything. With every tap of the hammer, you are making a deposit in your bank of self-trust. With every tap, you are proving to your mind that you are the one who keeps his word. With every tap, you are rewiring your neurology to associate action with your identity. And soon, that one stupid little habit becomes so ingrained, so easy, that it no longer requires any fire. It no longer requires any effort. The steel in that one small spot has been hardened. It is no longer a thing you do. It is a part of who you are. This is the metamorphosis. This is the moment discipline has done its work. The goal of discipline is not to live in a state of constant, grinding, white-knuckled effort. That is a misunderstanding. That is the beginning of the forge. The goal of discipline is to make the new behavior so automatic that it becomes your new baseline. The goal of discipline is to forge a new old self, one that is aligned with your vision. The goal of discipline is to become so good at it that you no longer need it. Because you are no longer doing discipline, you are being disciplined. The forge has done its work. The person who wakes up early is just you. The person who chooses the healthy food is just you. The person who does the hard work first is not fighting a war. They are simply being. This is the liberation. You have used the fire of friction and the hammer of consistency to shape the raw material of your will. You have forged the weapon, and in the process, you have forged yourself. Discipline is not the price you pay for freedom. Discipline is freedom. It is the freedom to be your own master. It is the freedom to design your own life. It is the freedom to finally become the person you were always meant to be, the sovereign self. In the last chapter, we entered the forge. We took the raw, unformed material of your will, we subjected it to the fire of friction, and we hammered it with the rhythm of consistency. You have forged the single greatest weapon of the sovereign self: discipline. You have the tool. You have kept the rule of one. You have made your first deposits into the bank of self-trust. You have, in a single vital act, proven that you are the one who keeps your word. This is the victory that matters most. But this is also where a new, subtle danger emerges. You have won the first battle. You are holding the line. But holding the line is not advancing. Holding the line is a defensive posture. It is static. Our goal is not stasis. Our goal is dominion. Our goal is not just to survive the war within, it is to conquer the territory of our new life. To do that, we must move. We must take the static, potential energy of our new discipline and convert it into the overwhelming, kinetic energy of progress. We must build the one thing that separates the dreamer from the achiever. We must build momentum. Welcome to Chapter 6, The Mechanism of Momentum. This chapter is about the physics of transformation. It is about understanding and harnessing the single most powerful accelerating force in human achievement. Why do most people who begin a new path fail? They do not fail because the path is wrong. They do not fail because they lack desire. They fail because they do not understand the lag. They do not understand the profound, brutal, and non-negotiable gap between the first effort and the first visible result. This is the law of inertia. It is the first and greatest filter that stands between you and your vision. Inertia is the universe's baseline state. An object at rest wants to stay at rest. That is the physical law of the cosmos. And your life, your old life, has been an object at rest. Your old habits, your old blueprint, they have a massive gravitational pull. They want to stay still. The old self we discussed in Chapter 4 is the psychological manifestation of inertia. When you decide to change, you are declaring war on this fundamental law. You are deciding to move a mountain, and the universe, in its indifference, demands you prove it. This is the tyranny of the first push. Imagine, in the center of a vast, flat plain stands a giant, colossal metal flywheel. It is 50 feet tall and weighs thousands of tons. It is a perfect, balanced, and impossibly heavy disk of pure potential. Your task, your new vow, is to make this wheel spin. On day 1, you show up. You are filled with the fire of your new why. You throw your entire body against the cold steel, pushing with every ounce of your strength. The wheel does not move, not a millimeter, not a sound. It is so heavy, so dense, that your effort seems to vanish into it, absorbed completely. You are exhausted, you are sweating, and the wheel is exactly as it was. This is the first day. This is the moment of profound doubt. The old self, the saboteur, is laughing in your ear. See, I told you, it's pointless. This is not for you. Your effort made no difference. This is the lag. And this is where 99% of people quit. They mistake the lack of a visible result for a lack of progress. They do not understand what is happening inside the steel. They do not understand that the push, while it did not move the wheel, sent a single microscopic vibration of stored energy into its core. But you are not one of them. You have forged discipline. You have a rule of one. Your rule is not, I will spin the wheel. Your rule is, I will push the wheel. You are not attached to the outcome. You are committed to the process. So, on day 2, you return. You are not motivated. You are disciplined. You plant your feet and you push again. Again, the wheel does not move. But that second vibration of energy joins the first. You come back on day 3, day 4, day 10. You push and you push and you push. Your commitment is no longer a feeling. It is a physical act. It is a ritual. And on day 27, you lean in, You push, and the wheel, with a groan that shakes the ground, moves. It moves one single, grinding, almost invisible inch. It is not a victory. It is not a reward. It is a catastrophe of effort for an insult of a result. Your entire being has been spent for 1 inch. The old self screams that you are a fool. But you are a professional. You are the master of the forge. You ignore the saboteur. And you show up on day 28. And you push. And the wheel moves 2 inches. You keep showing up. You keep hammering. You keep pushing. Day after day. The rhythm, the consistency. On day 90, you push, and the wheel completes 1 full, agonizing rotation. And then it stops. But something is different. The air is different. You are different. You have done the impossible. You have moved the mountain. You show up on day 91. You push, and the wheel completes its rotation in half the time. You push on day 92, and it completes 2 rotations. On day 100, you push, and the wheel keeps spinning after you have taken your hands away. This is the crossover point. This is the moment. It is the single most important event in the physics of your transformation. It is the moment that the stored kinetic energy in the flywheel becomes greater than the friction of the start. The mechanism is now on your side. The work for the first 100 days was you against the wheel. The work from this day forward is you plus the wheel. It is now harder to stop the wheel than it is to keep it going. You have done it. You have created momentum. This is the mechanism. This is the flywheel effect of growth. It is the most powerful force you can align your life with. The initial effort is massive, asymmetric, and feels pointless. But it is not pointless. It is storage. You are not just pushing, you are storing energy. You are building a new gravitational pull, a new inertia. And once that new inertia is in motion, it is unstoppable. It will begin to pull you. The days you wake up unmotivated will not matter. The flywheel's momentum will pull you to the gym. The days you are distracted will not matter. The flywheel's momentum will pull you to the desk. The old self is still there, screaming from the sidelines. But it can no longer get in front of the wheel. It is too big. It is too fast. It will be crushed. This is your new reality. So, how do we live this? How do we build this in practical daily life? The flywheel is a powerful analogy, but we must make it a practical strategy. This mechanism has 2 parts: the psychology that keeps you pushing and the strategy that makes the push more effective. First, let's master the psychology of the win. The lag is the great enemy of the human mind. Your brain is a reward-seeking machine. It is designed through millennia of evolution to conserve energy, inertia, and seek immediate reward, dopamine. Your new path is a direct threat to this ancient programming. You are expending massive energy for a massively delayed reward. Your brain hates this. It will interpret this lag as failure, and it will trigger the old self to shut down the operation. We cannot wait 100 days for the flywheel to spin to get our first win. We will burn out. Therefore, we must hack the system. We must redefine the win. From this moment on, the win is not the result. The win is not "I lost 10 pounds." The win is not "I got the promotion." The win is not "I finished the book." Those are outcomes. They are the lagging indicators of your effort. You cannot control them. The win is the process. The win is "I kept the promise." The win is "I showed up." The win is "I made the push." This is the most critical shift you will ever make. You must pay yourself for the effort, not the result. Your rule of one from the last chapter, your 10 minutes of walking, your 5 minutes of writing, when you complete it, you must stop and consciously acknowledge it as a victory. You must, in your own mind, say, "That is the win. I kept my word to myself. I made the push." What does this do? It short-circuits the lag. It gives your brain the dose of reward, the hit of dopamine that it craves. But it is not a cheap hit from distraction. It is an earned hit from integrity. You are creating a new, powerful neurological loop. Discipline, action, acknowledged win, reward, dopamine, self-respect, more discipline. You are no longer waiting for the world to reward you. You are rewarding yourself for being the kind of person who honors their commitments. This is the psychological engine that will keep you showing up day after day to push the flywheel long before it ever begins to spin on its own. You are manufacturing the why in real time. Second, we must master the strategy of the stack. You have one flywheel spinning. You kept your rule of one. You are doing your 10 push-ups every single day. That wheel is moving. It has momentum. It is now almost automatic. How do you build a second habit? How do you get a second flywheel moving? The amateur, the motivation addict, tries to start another massive wheel from a dead stop. They try to white-knuckle a second, third, and fourth habit. This is why New Year's resolutions fail. They are trying to fight inertia on 10 different fronts. It is a recipe for catastrophic failure. The professional, the master of momentum, does not do this. The professional never starts from a dead stop again if they can help it. Instead, you will use the momentum of the first flywheel to power the start of the second. This is the strategy of habit stacking. You will anchor your new, desired behavior to the existing, established behavior. You will create a chain of actions, a ritual. The formula is simple. After my current established habit, I will my new desired habit. After I have my morning coffee, a wheel that is already spinning at high speed, I will immediately set a timer for 1 minute of meditation. After I do my 10 push-ups, my new established rule of one, I will immediately read 1 page of a book. After I take off my work shoes, an existing habit, I will immediately put on my gym shoes. Do you see the physics? You are transferring energy. You are taking the momentum from the completed action and letting it crash into the inertia of the next action. You are not trying to start your meditation habit from a cold, dead stop in the middle of your chaotic day. You are tacking it on to the end of a habit that is already in motion. This is how you build a system of excellence. You are not building habits. You are building rituals. You are creating an interconnected mechanism of high-performance behaviors, each one triggering the next. This is how the rule of one becomes the rule of 10. Not by sheer force, but by intelligent strategy. By using momentum to create more momentum. This is the mechanism. It begins with the impossible, asymmetric, and faith-based effort of the first push. It is sustained by the psychological hack of redefining the win, of celebrating the process and not the prize. And it is accelerated by the strategic genius of habit stacking, of using what is in motion to move what is at rest. You have the forge. You have the mechanism. You are no longer just holding the line. You are advancing. The great wheel of your life is beginning to turn, and it is making a new sound. It is the sound of power. It is the sound of purpose. It is the sound of your own unstoppable will. You have built this incredible mechanism of momentum. It is spinning faster and faster, generating massive energy. But this energy, like all energy, is neutral. A spinning flywheel in a void is just a spinning flywheel. It achieves nothing. It is energy without direction. Your mechanism needs one final component. It needs to be channeled. It needs to be aimed. You must take this raw, untamed force of your momentum and focus it like a coherent beam of light on a single chosen objective. You must learn the superpower of the modern age. You must learn the art of focus. You have built the engine. Through the fire of the forge, you have discipline. Through the physics of the flywheel, you have momentum. Your new life is in motion. Your will is no longer a static wish. It is a force. It is a massive, spinning generator of raw, kinetic energy. And now we must ask the most important question. Where is all that energy going? You have created this incredible power, but power on its own is useless. A river, raging and unchanneled, is just a flood. It is chaos. It erodes the land, it destroys what it touches, and its power is spent in a violent, useless spray. But that same river, when channeled, when directed by a dam, when forced through a turbine, when compressed into a single coherent stream, that river can power a city. This is the state of your new self. You are the raging river of potential. And the world, as it is designed, is doing everything in its power to ensure you remain a flood. It is built to dissipate your energy. It is an architecture of distraction, designed to breach your banks and let your power drain away into the mud of triviality. This is the new war. War Within in Chapter 4 was an internal battle against your own old self. You have learned to win that. This is the external battle. This is the fight for your mind. Welcome to Chapter 7, The Alchemy of Focus. This chapter is about the nozzle. It is about the fine, deliberate, and ruthless art of channeling your hard-won momentum. Because in the modern age, momentum is not enough. You must have direction. In an age of algorithm-driven distraction, focus is the modern superpower. Let us define the new enemy. It is not a single, shadowy old self. It is a bright, loud, and infinitely seductive world. It is the notification. It is the endless scroll. It is the myth of multitasking. It is the 20 open tabs on your browser. This enemy does not attack you with fear. It seduces you with novelty. It does not try to stop you. It tries to divert you, just one click at a time. This architecture of distraction is not an accident. It is a multi-trillion-dollar industry. You must understand this viscerally. You are not in a fair fight. You are in a war for the most valuable currency on earth, your attention. Every time you check your phone, every time your eyes are pulled to a notification, every time you just switch tasks for a second, you are paying this industry. And you are paying with the one resource you cannot renew. You are paying with your life. You are paying with your focus. The price of this constant diversion is not just wasted time. The price is cognitive fragmentation. Your mind, when it is constantly switching, never achieves depth. It lives in a permanent state of shallow. You become a scanner, a reactor, a consumer. You are always responding to the world and never creating it. This fragmented state is the death of your momentum. It is like trying to keep your massive flywheel spinning by giving it 1,000,000 tiny, weak taps, instead of one consistent, powerful push. The energy is dissipated. The force is scattered. The flywheel slows. This is why you feel so busy but so unproductive. This is why you are so tired at the end of the day but have nothing to show for it. You have spent your entire day leaking. The shallow work, the emails, the messages, the reacting. This is the lead of your professional life. It is heavy, it is dull, and it is abundant. The alchemy we are here to learn is the process of transmuting that lead into gold. And the gold is deep work. Deep work is the state of undistracted flow. It is the channeling of your full cognitive capacity toward a single, chosen objective. It is the state where you are not reacting to the world. You are creating new value for the world. It is the state where the writer writes the book. It is the state where the strategist crafts the plan. It is the state where the artisan masters the craft. It is the state where all mastery, all rare and valuable creation, all true progress happens. This is the gold. And the only alchemical process that creates it is focus. Focus is not a passive paying attention. Focus is an active, willful, and aggressive act. It is the elimination of all that is not the one thing. It is the deliberate choice to disappoint the trivial, in service of the essential. Like the forge of discipline, this is not a skill you have. It is a system you build. It is a muscle you train. We will now build the 4 pillars of this system. Pillar 1, the sanctum. The first rule of focus is this: you cannot will your way out of a bad environment. You cannot out-discipline a world designed to break your discipline. The war of willpower against the trillion-dollar algorithm is a war you will lose every time. So, you must stop fighting distraction and you must start eliminating it. You must build a sanctum. This is a physical and digital space that is sterile to distraction. This is your deep work crucible. When you enter this space, your only job is to focus. In the physical world, this means a clean desk, a closed door. But most importantly, it means the phone is not in the room. Let us be perfectly, brutally clear on this. Your phone is the single greatest weapon of mass distraction ever invented. It is the portal through which the entire world's chaos will pour into your mind. You cannot have it face down. You cannot have it on silent. It must be in another room. It must be in a drawer. It must be in a lockbox. This is not an extreme act. This is the new baseline for any serious professional. This is the price of admission to a focused life. You must protect your sanctum. You must curate your environment to reflect your new, sovereign values. Your environment must serve your focus, not compete with it. In the digital world, this is just as critical. You will turn off every notification that is not from a human being who needs you in an emergency. You do not need to know that someone liked your post. You do not need to know that an email just arrived. You do not need to know that your app has been updated. These are not communications. They are intrusions. They are the tiny, constant shoulder taps of the distraction machine designed to pull you out of flow and back into the shallow. You must become the ruthless guardian of your own attention. You must build the walls of your sanctum so high that the noise of the world cannot get in. Pillar 2, the ritual. You have built the space. Now you must prime the mind. You cannot just demand that your brain go from a state of fragmented distraction to one of deep focus. It needs a transition. You must create a startup ritual. This is a short, precise, and consistent sequence of actions that you perform every single time before you begin a deep work session. This, like habit stacking in the last chapter, is a form of psychological anchoring. You are teaching your brain, through repetition, what is about to happen. Your ritual can be anything, but it must be consistent. Perhaps it is this. You walk into your sanctum. You pour 1 glass of water. You close the door. You set a timer for your chosen work block, 60 minutes, 90 minutes. You look at your plan and state out loud your one objective for this block. My sole purpose for the next 90 minutes is to write the outline for Chapter 8. You begin. This ritual, which may take less than 2 minutes, is the key. It is the trigger. After you do this 10 times, 20 times, your brain will learn. By the time you are on step 3, your physiology will begin to change. Your heart rate will steady. Your mind will begin to narrow. The ritual is the gateway to the state of flow. It is the conscious act of telling your mind, we are not in the shallow end anymore. We are going deep. Pillar 3, the principle of singularity. You are in your sanctuary. You have performed your ritual. You are in the work. And then, 10 minutes in, the itch begins. The old self, Chapter 4, is back in a new disguise. It does not say you are a failure. It whispers, this is boring. It whispers, you know what? I should check that one quick thing. It's work-related. It whispers, I should get a snack. I'm a little restless. This is the moment. This is the battle of focus. This is the friction of the forge applied to your attention. Your ability to tolerate this discomfort, to sit with that itch of boredom, to feel the restlessness and to not act on it, this is the focus muscle. Every time you feel the itch and you do not scratch it, you get stronger. Every time you do scratch it, every time you just check your email or just look up one small thing, you have broken the flow. You have let the flood break the dam. And the research is clear. It can take over 20 minutes for your brain to get back to the same level of deep focus it was in before that one single tiny interruption. This is why you must adopt the principle of singularity. This is the law of monotasking. You will destroy the myth of multitasking in your life. Multitasking is not a skill. It is cognitive suicide. It is the act of doing multiple things badly while training your brain to be incapable of doing one thing well. The sovereign mind does one thing at a time. When you are in your work block, you do only that one predefined task. The email can wait. The idea can be written on a notepad and dealt with later. You are a creator in this block, not a collector. This is the alchemy. This is how you transmute 90 minutes of lead, your time, into 90 minutes of gold, your best work. This 90 minutes of true, deep, focused work is more valuable than an entire day of shallow, fragmented, distracted work. It is not about more time. It is about better time. Pillar 4, the interval. This is the final and most overlooked pillar. Focus is not sustainable for 8 hours straight. Focus, true deep focus, is a sprint. It is an intense, cognitively demanding act. You cannot just grind it out. The amateur tries to power through. The professional understands the rhythm of work. The professional builds in the rest. Your mind, like a muscle, needs recovery. This is the principle of the interval. You sprint your 90-minute focus block, and then you rest. You must schedule real breaks. And a real break is not switching from my work email to my social media. That is not a break. That is just switching from one form of cognitive load to another. A real break is a total disconnect. Get up, walk away from the screen, look out the window, stretch, breathe. Let your mind go diffuse. This diffuse mode is not wasted time. It is essential. It is the other half of the thinking process. It is when your subconscious, no longer constrained by the narrow beam of focus, begins to connect ideas in the background. This is where insight comes from. This is where the aha moment is born. The sprint of focus gathers the data. The rest of the interval synthesizes it. You must honor both. Work hard, rest hard. An intense 90-minute sprint, a true 20-minute rest. That is the rhythm of the professional. That is the rhythm of sustainable, high-level mastery. This is the system. This is the alchemy. It begins by building your sanctum, declaring your mind to be sovereign territory. It is triggered by your ritual. It is executed through the principle of singularity, and it is sustained by the rhythm of the interval. The world is fighting for your attention. The algorithms are designed to fracture it. But your attention, your focus, is the one and only nozzle that can channel the momentum you have built. It is the tool that turns your raw energy into impact. It is the tool that turns your vision into reality. It is the difference between being a reactor and being an architect. Your focus is not a passive skill. It is an active choice. It is a declaration. It is the ultimate statement that you, not the world, not the noise, not the algorithm, are the one in command. You have done the impossible. You have faced the internal saboteur and won. You have built the forge of discipline. You have spun the flywheel of momentum. You have channeled your power through the alchemy of focus. You are in motion. You are executing. You are, for the first time, the cause of your life, not the effect of it. You can feel the power in this. You can feel the alignment, the integrity, the sheer beautiful, kinetic force of a life lived on purpose. And now for the truth that no one else will tell you. This new power does not make you immune. It makes you a target. Your motion, your newfound clarity, your unwavering path. These things are a direct challenge to the fundamental chaos of the world, and the world will respond. You have a plan, you have a vision, and reality is about to take that plan, hold it up, and laugh. This is the great, unavoidable, and non-negotiable test. The plan is in motion, you are executing, and now you will be hit. This is not a possibility, this is not if, this is when. It is a guarantee. The project you have poured your soul into will fail. The person you trusted will betray you. The market will turn, erasing your gains. The discipline you have so carefully forged will meet an obstacle so large, so sudden, that your momentum will shatter against it. A sudden loss, a health crisis, a public humiliation, an economic winter. This is the hit. This is the moment the real world punches you in the mouth. Welcome to Chapter 8, The Armor of Resilience. This chapter is not about avoiding the hit. You cannot. The path of the sovereign self is not a path of avoidance. It is a path of mastery. And you cannot master a force you refuse to face. This chapter is about what you do in the second after you are hit. It is about the armor you are building, and it is about the profound alchemical secret that the sovereign self knows. The hit is not the end of your journey. The hit is the most important part of it. To understand this, we must first analyze the lie that has made us so weak. It is the lie of the plan. We are taught that if we are smart enough, if we work hard enough, if we have the right mindset, we can create a perfect, linear path from A to B. We have been sold a fantasy of control. The plan, the vision board, the 5-year goal. These are not prophecies. They are tools. They are a compass, as we forged in Chapter 3. They give you a direction. They are not a map of a territory that already exists. You are not on a paved road. You are in an uncharted jungle, and you are cutting the path with every step. The hit is the moment you encounter a cliff face you did not see coming. It is the moment a storm washes away the path. It is the moment you realize your map was just a hypothesis. In that moment, the brittle mind, the mind of the old self, the mind of the ego, reacts in one predictable way. It shatters. The brittle mind has welded its identity to the outcome. It has told itself, if my plan succeeds, I am a success. And therefore, if my plan fails, I am a failure. When the hit comes, the brittle mind experiences it as a verdict. The failure of the project becomes the failure of the person. The result is a catastrophic emotional collapse, shame, anger, despair, and the one final desperate cry of the ego. This is not fair. And it is right. It is not fair. It was never supplied to be fair. The universe does not operate on the axis of fair. It operates on the axis of is. The brittle mind, which demands that reality conform to its plan, will be broken by reality every single time. It will retreat, it will hide, it will curse the game, and it will return to the safety of the unopened door, where it will spend the rest of its life telling itself why it was right to quit. Then there is the resilient mind. This is a step above. This is what most of the world strives for. The resilient mind endures. It bounces back. It gets knocked down. It takes the pain, and it gets back up. This is admirable. It is tough, but it is incomplete. To bounce back means to return to the shape you were before. The resilient mind withstands the hit, but it does not learn from it. It endures the storm, but it does not harness it. It gets back up the same person, ready to be hit in the same way all over again. This is not the path of sovereignty. Endurance is not mastery. We are here to build the third mind, the anti-fragile mind. This is the armor. This is the alchemy. The resilient mind resists the hit. The anti-fragile mind welcomes it. The anti-fragile mind metabolizes it. The anti-fragile mind gets stronger because of it. We must forge a new analogy. In the last chapter, we spoke of the river. Now, let us speak of the human body. The anti-fragile mind works like an immune system. When a pathogen, a virus, enters the system, it is a hit. It is a crisis. A weak system is overwhelmed and dies. This is the brittle mind. A resilient system fights it, endures the sickness, and returns to baseline, waiting for the next infection. But an intelligent system, an anti-fragile system, does not just fight the virus. It interrogates it, it studies it, it breaks it down, it learns its code, and then it builds a specific antibody. It upgrades itself, it evolves. The hit itself, the poison, has become the catalyst for a new strength. The system is not just back to normal. It is now permanently stronger, spurier, and more capable than it was before. It has metabolized the chaos. It has turned the poison into power. This is our goal. We are not here to survive our failures. We are here to feed on them. This armor, therefore, is not a static thing you wear. It is not a wall you build. The armor is a process. It is a system of conscious, deliberate, emotional, and intellectual alchemy. Let us build this system. It has 3 critical phases. Phase 1, the verdict, the moment of impact. The hit comes. The plan fails. You are on the ground. In this first microsecond, the feeling will be overwhelming. It is the verdict of the brittle mind. You will feel like a failure. You will feel the shame, the anger, the fear. This is the first test. The old self, the saboteur, will give you 2 options. Run, distract yourself, numb the feeling. Grab your phone, find a drink, do anything to not feel this. Drown, give in to the shame, wallow in the verdict. I am a failure. I am worthless. I knew it. The sovereign self chooses the third path, the path of the warrior. The sovereign self stands still. It faces the feeling. It does not run, and it does not drown. It holds the pain. It looks it in the eye. It feels the full, terrible, fiery heat of the emotion, and it does not flinch. This is the first act of courage. You must feel it to metabolize it. You cannot learn from a feeling you are fleeing. Phase 2, the observation, the armor of detachment. You are holding the feeling. Now, the second act of alchemy begins. You must create space. You must, with all your newfound discipline, insert a tiny, microscopic wedge of consciousness between you and the emotion. This is the armor of detachment. It is not coldness, it is clarity. You will perform this mental shift. You will stop saying, I am angry, and you will start saying, I am observing the feeling of anger. You will stop saying, I am a failure, and you will start saying, I am experiencing the profound physical sensation of shame. Do you see the change? You have just depersonalized the attack. You have turned the verdict into a symptom. The feeling is no longer you. It is a thing. It is a storm that you are witnessing from a place of shelter. In this space, the emotion loses its power over you. It is no longer your identity. It is just energy. It is just information. You have contained the fire. You are no longer burning in it. You are now the blacksmith looking at it. Phase 3, the interrogation, the reframe. You have contained the energy. You have separated yourself from it. You are no longer the victim of the feeling. You are the observer of it. Now, for the final and most powerful act. You must interrogate the data. The hit is no longer a verdict. It is now a report. The failure is not a person. It is pure, unadulterated, invaluable data. You must put this failure on the stand. And you must become a ruthless, cold-blooded prosecutor, seeking not blame, but truth. You will ask the questions of the sovereign mind. The brittle mind asks, whose fault is this? The anti-fragile mind asks, what part of my plan was wrong? The brittle mind says, I will never do this again. The anti-fragile mind asks, what is the 1% of this that worked, and how do I double down on it? The brittle mind says, this is a stop sign. The anti-fragile mind asks, what is this pain trying to teach me? This is the ultimate reframe. Failure is just the gap between your expectation and reality. That is all it is. It is not a moral failing. It is an information gap. The hit did not come to end you. It came to inform you. It came to expose the flaw in your hypothesis. And pain? Pain is the greatest teacher in the universe. Pain is not a punishment. It is a signal. It is a high-pitched, non-negotiable alarm telling you that something is out of alignment. Your ego is hurt because your identity was misaligned. Your plan failed because your assumptions were misaligned. Your heart is broken because your boundaries were misaligned. The pain is a divine navigation tool. It is a compass pointing directly to the part of your system that is weak and needs to be forged. This is the armor of resilience. It is this process. It is the act of metabolizing the hit. It is the courage to feel the verdict. It is the discipline to observe and detach. It is the wisdom to interrogate and reframe. This is how you grow. This is the second, deeper forge. A bone, when it is broken, heals back stronger at the breakpoint. A muscle, when it is torn in the gym, the hit of the workout, does not just heal. It grows back stronger. It adapts. It upgrades. The anti-fragile self does not fear the breaks. It does not fear the tears. It does not seek them, but it understands them. It understands that the break is the mechanism of the new strength. It understands that the scar is the proof of the evolution. Your setbacks are not failures. They are upgrades. Your pain is not a burden. It is a blueprint for your next evolution. Do not pray for an easy life. Do not pray for a path with no storms. That is the prayer of the brittle. That is the prayer of the old self. Instead, pray for the courage to face the storm. Pray for the wisdom to learn from it. Pray for the strength to metabolize its power. Because the storm is not coming to destroy you. It is coming to make you. There is an enemy more dangerous than the sudden crisis. There is a test more difficult than the open war. In the last chapter, you learned to face the hit. You learned to metabolize the storm. You learned to forge the armor of resilience, to take the poison of failure and alchemize it into the power of your own evolution. You have proven you can survive the battle. You can withstand the punch. But what happens when the punching stops? What happens when the war is over? What happens when the storm passes? And all you are left with is the silence? You are left in a new territory. It is not the thrilling, terrifying chaos of the fight. It is not the painful, profound education of the failure. It is the void. It is the long, flat, featureless expanse that comes after the initial victories and after the dramatic setbacks. It is the place where your momentum, which you built with such effort, no longer seems to be accelerating. It is the place where the results, which were once so intoxicating, have slowed to a crawl or vanished completely. It is the long, boring, and seemingly endless middle of the journey. This is the plateau, and it is the most subtle and most lethal enemy of them all. Welcome to Chapter 9, The Plateau of Persistence. This chapter is about the great silent filter that separates the amateur from the professional. It is about the test that 99% of people fail. The crisis, the hit, the open war. These things slay the weak. But the plateau seduces the strong. It does not defeat you with force. It convinces you to defeat yourself. Let us diagnose this new enemy. Let us give it a name and drag it into the light. The plateau is the inevitable mathematical consequence of your own progress. When you began this journey, you were a beginner. And for a beginner, progress is cheap. The newbie gains are explosive. When you first started to work out, you got stronger every week. When you first started your new craft, you learned a new, exciting skill every day. When you first started to live your new why, the world felt electric. Every act of discipline, Chapter 5, was a revelation. You were taking massive, visible steps. Your flywheel, Chapter 6, was accelerating, and you could feel the G-force. This is the romance of the new beginning. It is a potent, addictive, and temporary drug. The plateau is the end of that drug. It is the moment the S-curve of learning flattens. It is the moment you go to the gym, push with the same heroic effort, and you do not get stronger. Not this week, not this month. It is the moment you sit at your desk, apply the same perfect focus, Chapter 7, and the breakthrough does not come. It is the moment you are doing all the right things, all the things we have discussed, and your results have flatlined. This is the moment of the great deception. This is when the old self, the internal saboteur, returns. It does not return as the screaming demon of Chapter 4, filling you with terror. It returns as a whispering accountant. It comes to you with a ledger and a calm, reasonable voice. It says, "Look at the numbers. The effort you are putting in is no longer matching the return you are getting. This is a bad investment. The magic is gone. This is not working anymore." It says, "You are stagnant. This must mean you are failing. This must mean you have hit your natural limit. This must mean it is time to quit." And the most devastating lie it tells you is this: it is supposed to be more exciting than this. This is the great toxic myth of our highlight reel culture. We have been trained to believe that a life of purpose is a life of constant, visible, upward motion. We are addicted to the novelty of the beginning and the drama of the crisis. We are a culture of amateurs, and the amateur needs the feeling. The amateur is a tourist in the land of mastery. He is here for the feeling of progress. He is here for the applause, either from the world or from himself. He is addicted to the result. And the moment the feeling fades, the moment the applause stops, the moment the results dry up, the amateur quits. He blames the method, he blames the plan, he blames himself. And he goes searching for the next new thing, the next romance, the next motivation. He spends his entire life starting and never finishing. He has a graveyard of new beginnings. And he cannot understand why he is not in command of his life. The plateau is the proving ground that burns this amateur self away. It is the test that asks you the one question that truly matters. Did you really mean it? Did you mean your why, Chapter 3, or was it just a nice idea while it felt good? Did you commit to the process, or were you just in love with the prize? Are you a tourist, or are you a resident? The professional, the sovereign self, is not a tourist. The professional is a resident. The professional is a craftsman. And the craftsman has made a different kind of vow. The amateur is in love with the result. The professional is in love with the process. The amateur needs to be motivated. The professional is the motivation. The professional, the master, does not fear the plateau. They do not see it as a sign of failure. The professional understands that the plateau is a necessary, natural, and productive part of the journey. They understand that the plateau is not stagnant. They understand that the plateau is where the real work is done. It is where the visible, external progress stops, so that the invisible, internal mastery can begin. It is the lag from Chapter 6, but on a macro scale. The gains are still happening. They are just happening at a microscopic level. They are happening in the roots, deeper, stronger, and more complex. The amateur, who only looks at the leaves, thinks the tree is dead. The professional, who is the tree, can feel the work being done in the dark. So, how do we live here? How do we thrive in this desert? How do we persist when the horizon never seems to get any closer? You must cultivate the craftsman's mindset. This is the final, mature, and most powerful evolution of your will. It has 3 components. First, you must shift your focus from completion to quality. When you were a beginner, the win was just doing the thing. The win was showing up. On the plateau, showing up is no longer the win. That is the baseline. That is the price of admission. The new win is perfection. The joy is no longer found in the big external result. The joy is now found in the small, internal detail. The amateur is just running the marathon. The professional is obsessing over their form. The amateur is just writing the book. The professional is finding ecstasy in the choice of a single perfect word. The amateur is lifting the weight. The professional is analyzing the 1 millimeter adjustment in their grip. This is the micro-inch. On the plateau, you are no longer fighting for miles of progress. You are fighting for millimeters. And you must redefine your definition of joy to celebrate that millimeter. You must fall in love with the nuance. You must become a connoisseur of your own craft. You must find the entire universe of progress in the smallest, most insignificant seeming part of the process. This is the joy of the craftsman. It is a quiet, deep, and unshakable joy. It is a joy that no one can take from you because it is not dependent on any external validation. It is the joy of integrity to the craft itself. Second, you must anchor your identity to the ritual, not the result. The amateur's identity is, I am the person who gets results. This is an identity built on sand. The moment the results stop, the identity shatters. The professional's identity is, I am the person who does the work. This is an identity built on bedrock. Your ritual, from Chapter 7, is no longer the tool that gets you the result. Your ritual is the result. The completion of the daily process is the victory. You must stop goal setting and start system building. The goal, the destination, is a fragile, future-based thing that you do not control. The system, the daily practice, is an anti-fragile, present-tense thing that you absolutely control. You must find your peace in the process. The win is no longer, I lost a pound. The win is, I ate the clean meal. The win is no longer, the business grew 10%. The win is, I made the 10 calls. The win is no longer the feeling of inspiration. The win is the act of sitting in the chair. This is the ultimate liberation. You are decoupling your win from the chaos of the world, Chapter 8, and you are welding it to the certainty of your own will, Chapter 5. You can now win every single day, regardless of the results, regardless of the feedback, regardless of your mood. The ritual is the reward. The integrity of the promise kept is the prize. Third, you must commit to the marathon, long after the crowds have gone home. The romance phase is a party. It is loud. Everyone is cheering for you. You are cheering for you. The plateau is a desert. It is a long, solo walk. The applause has faded. The newness is gone. It is just you and the work. This is the great filter. This is the moment you must re-sign your contract. You must choose this again, not with the fire of the new, but with the cold, hard steel of commitment. This is the true test of your why. Your why can no longer be a spark. It must become a climate. It must be the air you breathe. You are not doing this for a reason. You are doing this because this is who you are. The amateur shows up when the camera is on. The professional shows up especially when no one is watching, especially when they themselves are bored. The professional knows that the real work, the work that creates character, is the work you do when you least feel like it. This is persistence. It is not sexy. It is not dramatic. It is not a highlight. It is the quietest, most powerful force in the universe. It is the drop of water that cuts through the stone, not with power, but with time. It is the roots of the oak tree, silently cracking the bedrock. This is the walk of the sovereign self. The amateur gives up. The professional persists. They persist through the boredom. They embrace the plateau as the sacred ground of mastery. They learn to love the work. They find joy in the millimeter. They find honor in the ritual. The plateau is not your prison. It is your proving ground. It is the forge, where commitment is finally and permanently hammered into character. This is the long, quiet, and glorious walk of the master, and you are now on it. We have come to the end of the path. We have walked a long and difficult road, from the unopened door of our potential, through the fire of the forge, and across the long, quiet desert of the plateau. And now we stand here, in the silence. The work has been done. The battles have been fought. The question that hangs in the air is, what now? What happens when the work is finished? And here is the final, greatest truth of this entire journey. The work is not finished. It has just begun. And the path does not end. It has just transformed. You have not completed a process. You have become a different person. The work is no longer a thing you do. The work is who you are. Welcome to Chapter 10, The Sovereign Self. This is not a final lesson. This is an integration. This is the chapter where we look back, not with nostalgia, but with the clear, cold light of understanding, to see the architecture of the new self you have built. In the beginning, this journey was a fight. It was you against your old self. It was you against your habits. It was you against the noise of the world. It was an external, conscious, and often painful act of doing. You had to do the excavation, digging up the old blueprint, Chapter 2. You had to do the forging, creating your compass, Chapter 3. You had to fight the war, fending off the saboteur, Chapter 4. You had to force the discipline, hammering the steel. But a process, when repeated with persistence, Chapter 9, does not remain a process. It becomes a property. A habit, when it is fully ingrained, is no longer a choice. It is an identity. The forge is now cold. Why? Because the steel is finished. The blade has been forged, tempered, and sharpened. It no longer needs the fire. It is ready. The struggle is over. This is the great metamorphosis. The discipline you so painfully forged is no longer an act. It is your baseline. You no longer do discipline. You are disciplined. The resilience you built is no longer a strategy. Chapter 8. It is your skin. The focus you practiced is no longer an effort. It is your gaze. The old self is not gone. It is simply irrelevant. It is a faint, distant radio station, drowned out by the clear, powerful signal of your purpose. The war is not won. It has been made obsolete. This is the sovereign self. And this self has a new, non-negotiable code. It is an operating system defined by 4 fundamental marks of mastery. The first mark of the sovereign self is total ownership. The drifter, the person you were, was a tenant in their own life. They lived in a house they did not build, with a blueprint they did not draw. They were a victim of their own past, a slave to their own programming. Chapter 2. The sovereign self is the architect. This is the sole, confident, and absolute creator of your reality. This is not a positive thinking trick. This is the iron law of your new life. You understand that your internal state is not a result of your external world. Your internal state is the cause of it. You no longer blame. Blame is the abdication of power. It is the language of the victim. You do not blame the economy. You do not blame your boss. You do not blame your past. You see the world not as a verdict, but as a reflection. If your life is in chaos, you look inward. You ask, what part of me is creating this chaos? If you are met with resistance, you ask, what part of my approach is flawed? This is the most terrifying and most liberating of all principles. The architect of the problem is the only one who can create the solution. By taking 100% responsibility for everything in your life, you are claiming 100% power to change it. Your life, your mind, your emotions, they are your territory. And on this territory, your will is law. The second mark is internal validation. The drifter was a puppet. They were a slave to the societal narrative. Their strings were pulled by the need for applause, the fear of criticism, and the desperate, aching desire to fit in. Their sense of self was outsourced, held in the hands of strangers. The sovereign self is immune to the noise. The compass you forged, Chapter 3, is no longer a tool you consult. It is an internal gyroscope. It is part of your physiology. Your why, your purpose, is so loud, so clear, and so bright that it drowns out the world's shoulds. This is not arrogance. Arrogance is a loud display for others. This is confidence. Confidence is a quiet certainty for yourself. The sovereign self does not need to be right. It only needs to be aligned. When you receive criticism, you are no longer wounded. You are curious. You can look at the feedback with detachment. You ask, is this data useful? If it is, you metabolize it. Chapter 8. You use it. If it is not, you discard it. It has no emotional weight. It is just noise. The need for external validation has vanished. You are no longer performing for the crowd. The crowd, Chapter 9, has gone home. You are now your own audience, and you are the only one who needs to be impressed. The integrity of the act itself has become the only reward. The third mark is mastery of the internal. The drifter was a slave to their own chemistry. They were a victim of their own moods. Their feelings were commanders. If they felt motivated, they acted. If they felt tired, bored, or anxious, Chapter 4, they stopped. Their feelings were the tyrant that dictated the entire course of their life. The sovereign self has dethroned the tyrant. Your feelings are no longer commanders. They are counselors, and often they are terrible counselors. You have created, through the forge of discipline, Chapter 5, a space between the stimulus, the feeling, and the response, your action. In that space, you live. The feeling of anxiety rises. The sovereign self observes it. Ah, interesting. The old self is sending up a flare. This is data. It is not a director. The feeling of laziness arrives. You observe it. A biological call for stasis, acknowledged, and irrelevant. You have learned to act in spite of the feeling. You have learned that your feelings are not you. They are events. They are weather. And you You are the sky. The storm passes, but the sky remains. This is the new relationship. You are no longer the leaf tossed in the wind. You are the mountain that the wind must break against. The fourth and final mark is the shift from reactor to creator. The drifter's life was a series of reactions. The alarm clock reacts. The email reacts. The notification reacts. Their day was not designed, it was assembled by the agendas of others. Their focus, chapter 7, was fractured. Their momentum, chapter 6, scattered. They were a flood, not a river. The sovereign self is a creator. You are the cause, not the effect. Your day begins not with a reaction, but with an intention. You decide what your one thing is. You build your sanctum. You protect your time. You understand that time is your property. It is the one asset you have, and you guard it like a dragon. You have moved from shallow work to deep work. You have moved from multitasking to monotasking. You are no longer busy. You are impactful. This is the great paradox of the sovereign self. From the outside, your life looks more restricted. You say no more often. You have non-negotiable rituals. You have boundaries made of steel. But from the inside, you have, for the first time, true freedom. You have the freedom to execute your vision, the freedom to control your own mind, the freedom to build the life you chose. The drifter's life looked free, the freedom to do anything at any moment. But it was the prison of impulse. The sovereign self has earned the real freedom by forging the discipline that creates it. This is the integration. This is the person you have become. The work is no longer hard. This is a critical distinction. The tasks are still difficult. The challenge is still real. But the internal friction is gone. You are no longer fighting yourself to get to the gym. You are just the person who goes to the gym. You are no longer forcing yourself to do the deep work. You are just the person who focuses. The flywheel is not just spinning. It is you. You are in it. It is your orbit. And the gravity of your purpose now pulls all the other smaller choices into its path. This is the ease of mastery. It is not effortless. It is integrated. So we stand here, at the end. What happens when this sovereign self fails? Because you will. What happens when the hit, chapter 8, comes? The verdict is gone. The shame is gone. The sovereign self does not fail. The sovereign self learns. The plan failed, but you did not. You metabolize the data. You calibrate. You adjust. You persist. It is no longer drama. It is just process. What happens on the plateau? Chapter 9. The sovereign self builds a home there. You are no longer addicted to the result. You are in love with the process. The plateau is not boredom. The plateau is the canvas. It is the sacred, holy ground where the true master hones the micro-inch of their craft. You have, at last, closed the gap between the person you were and the person you knew you could be. The unopened door, chapter 1, is gone. You have not just opened it. You have dismantled the entire wall. The potential you felt, that ache of dissonance, it has been actualized. This is not a destination. It is a birth. You have not finished the journey. You have just, finally, become the person who is capable of starting it. The you of the past could not handle the life that is waiting for you. The sovereign self can. The work was never about becoming someone you are not. It was an excavation. It was about unbecoming, unlearning, and undoing everything that was not you. It was about chipping away all the inherited junk, all the societal lies, all the cowardice and comfort, to find the person who was always there, the strong, disciplined, focused, and sovereign you. The journey is over. The real life begins.